In 2010, I was a kid with no money, no console, and a very cheap PC. I wanted to play video games, and Flash games did me well. My brother was a mini-clip guy. I was more into addicting games. The old one that looks like a blank default forum template. Even with my limited understanding of video games and the world in general, I could still tell that Flash games were also limited. I wanted something a little more polished, a little more professional, and equally cheap. My pilgrimage would lead me to the same place as many other older Zoomers. Big Fish Games. Big Fish is kind of like the daytime television of video games. Mass-produced, largely derivative, and aimed at stay-at-home moms. Founded in 2002 as a developer and publisher, Big Fish was meant to tap a growing market of home PC users. Since the 1980s, the average cost of a personal computer had dropped dramatically. Just 2 years earlier, Microsoft released Windows 2000, the easiest, most powerful version of Windows yet, tripling their market share.
Oh, good! That's a compact disc, bro, running Windows 2000! Is that for me? No!
PCs were already phasing out traditional, analog means of doing business, and were getting into more homes than ever before. Integrated graphics and sound, as well as things like DirectX, were coming standard with them as well, meaning that the average consumer could get a multimedia gaming experience without having to dump more cash into peripherals. Everything was poised for games to explode on home computers, and they did. But wait, Big Fish cried. Many of the most popular games only appeal to young men who like violence. Or nerd shit. There's probably a big market of people with low expectations who want totally different styles of game, which are also significantly easier to pump out. Thus, after a few years of publishing digital distributions of point-and-click adventures, they would develop Mystery Case Files Huntsville. After this point, in 2005, they went insane, publishing and sometimes developing games once or twice a week. Online game storefronts have traditionally struggled to fill out libraries of content to compete with the big players like Steam, but Big Fish was doing this at the same time as Steam and stuffing their gills with content. It helps that Big Fish was also serving a completely different customer. Steam was where you went to play Team Fortress 2. Big Fish was where you went to play Restaurant Rush. You might be wondering how I played these as a kid with no money if this was a storefront with games you had to buy. That's because every single game they offered had a free 1-hour demo. I burned through so many of these as a kid. I vividly remember trying to rush through demos before the time limit was up so I could see as much of the game as possible. There was one night where I was playing through some civilization building game and my mom came in to tell me dinner was ready. And I was like, I only have 20 more minutes in the demo! I don't know why I couldn't have just, closed it out and come back to it later. I was a dumb kid. Big Fish will pop into my mind every now and again, and it almost doesn't make sense to me. I know they've been spewing out titles for over 20 years now, but they confine themselves to such a specific niche of casual gaming that most of these games have to be the most derivative things imaginable, right? But I haven't played one in forever, so I undertook a quest to play like a dozen of these things, new and old, and report my findings for you guys. I have lots of categories to choose from, like Hidden Object, Match 3, and Marble Popper. Marble Popper? You mean Zuma? Is this an entire category of Zuma clones? I mean, I like that game, but where can you really go with that concept? Let's see with their earliest attempt, 2005's Luxor. Why this one? Because the site calls it as exciting as it is exciting. How could I not be intrigued? Well, looks like I'll have to stay intrigued because it refuses to activate in the Big Fish launcher. I can install it and everything, but for some reason, I cannot play it. Oh well, I guess I'll have to settle for its sequel, Luxor 2. Unfortunately, it's not as exciting as it is exciting, but the tagline does say that... Okay, let's skip Luxor 2 and go straight to Luxor 2 HD from 2012. It's certainly a marble popper. You move back and forth, shoot marbles at other marbles, make matches, get power-ups, progress from level to level. Not bad by any means. It looks pretty good for its time and budget, just not a lot to say. Maybe it's not fair to look at a remaster of such an old title. Let's check out one of the most recent entries in this genre that they offer, Rescue Adventure Marble Puzzle Blast, a game so obscure it doesn't even have a Moby Games page. I think I'm done with Marble Puzzle Blast. Let's try one of these time management games. Bee Garden, The Lost Queen. Alright, this is what I'm talking about. A little bit more production value, full 3D graphics, horrifying, sludgy looking bees with hair. The story here, told entirely through text, involves these two fuck-ups upsetting the queen of their hive, causing her to storm out, leaving the colony lost and directionless. In reality, if a queen dies, the remaining bees kick off a breeding frenzy, so if this game were accurate, it would be a lot more explicit, and we'd get to see these things get down. Unfortunately, instead of wild bee orgies, the player must take up the mantle and guide the workers to produce honey. Every single mechanic is done by clicking on things to issue orders to your workers, plant seeds, water them, collect honey, or replace dead plants, rinse, repeat until you've hit the goal. They start to throw in more mechanics like a rainstorm you can call in to supercharge your crop's growth, and sinister bandit bees who try to steal the honey. This game is also fine, because everything runs on timers. You're consistently doing things and making progress, queuing up actions, and keeping track of what's where. I didn't play that much of this game, but I can imagine that later levels ratchet up the difficulty and test your management skills. The graphics are in that early 2000s, highly optimized, easy-to-run art style that was common in a lot of PC games at the time, and I can't help but find it charming. It reminds me of Free Realms. Holy crap, Free Realms. I should do a video on that, huh? Dead MMOs Part 2? I was intrigued by Big Fish's action section, and a lot of them fit what I imagine a safe brand of action to be. I wonder what their older titles look like, though. Alien Shooter? Well, of course I want to save the world from alien invasion. Let's check it out. Whoa, 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 oh my god, whoa. That was, more intense than I was expecting. Alien Shooter is a surprisingly solid run-and-gun title. It's nothing too complicated. You're an agent sent in to kill some aliens. You start out with some basic pistols and earn cash to buy more weapons and ammo between levels. I would describe it as being like Left 4 Dead, what with the giant swarms of enemies, but this came out in 2003, so it's like a top-down Serious Sam? Except much more cramped. Once they start throwing huge waves of aliens at you and you have some bigger guns, it feels pretty good to mow them down, though you're never invulnerable. You shoot right where your cursor is, meaning that you actually have to aim at the area you're trying to cover, leaving room for other enemies to slip by. Kiting and making use of choke points is integral to getting through alive, and actually overcoming the crazy amount of enemies is satisfying. There's a decent moment in one of the first levels where the doors close behind you when the power cuts off. It's a small thing, but it feels like the devs actually wanted to make something cool. Or they just really liked this concept because it's basically all they did for 20 years. And I can't fault them too much. It's a fun game, even if there's little things like the... Yeah, sure. The music's not bad either. A straightforward rock with some delightfully cheesy details. Make 'em bleed. Surprisingly, despite having a word games category ever since 2004, they only offer about 50 of them. I guess it's not a very popular category, but I do love a good word game, so I downloaded Amazing Pyramids Rebirth. Well, they don't look Egyptian.
Nice one.
Ha-ha! Excellent, excellent.
Nice one.
Ha-ha! Excellent.
Nice one.
Ha-ha! Ha-ha!
Nice.
So we have that guy who hangs around 7-Eleven, a self-described nice guy Keebler elf, and Mark Cerny. Let's go with the elf. We're a couple of white dudes in Egypt looking to plunder the only thing the British didn't take. Words. Every level of the pyramid gives you a hint, and you need to guess the right word, Wheel of Fortune style. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, there's some more mechanics like score bonuses, hints, and energy meter that drains if you guess wrong. But it's a small scale game. Should I start a counter for not a lot to say? Nope, because I've been beating around the bush long enough. Big Fish built its empire on publishing games that hit a very specific appeal. They are bread and butter. The foundation of everything is hidden object games. They offer 4,827 hidden object games on their website. Are we ever going to find all of the objects? This includes titles like Mushroom Age.
I'm Tom Scout's fiancé. He's a researcher here, and I haven't been able to find him for a few days.
Tom? Right. He's my assistant. That's right. Tom's very busy. You smell like lilies of the valley.
That's right. It's my perfume.
Oh, how I love that smell. My head is spinning. Oh, I feel sick.
Professor, what happened?
I'm trying to find the objects in this room, but the game does this annoying thing where it only lets you look for 4 at a time. I was curious how we were going to get mushrooms and dinosaurs in this game, but my fiance's phone is a time machine that can call other time periods? Sure.
Connecting to 3008 AD.
Don't do it. I beg you.
I travel through the rectum of time and end up in the future, talking to this robot.
And what year do you think it is?
2008?
This is how I laugh. This is how I laugh. Oh no. This is how I laugh. Oh no, I'm malfunctioning.
The game throws some puzzles in between the hidden object bits for variety. Hey, I know an elf who'd love this one. The robot takes us to our fiancé who... Oh. Well, that's awkward. Luckily, he's left a message for us as a hologram epitaph. We just need to find which grave is his by, what else? Finding hidden objects. A quick puzzle to fix the hologram device, and we can finally see our beloved fiancé, Tom.
Excellent. Now we can view Tom's hologram.
Hi, Vera. It's me, Tom.
Oh. He explains to us that some dinosaur eggs have been taken from the Jurassic period, and he can't come back to us until they're returned. I was promised a dinosaur. I'm gonna go until I see a dinosaur. Before that, we have to go to the 1500s to meet Nostradamus. We need him to divine the location of the eggs for us, but he got into an argument with Dante's ghost, who scattered all his horoscope symbols, because those are things, I guess. We have to get those by finding hidden objects. Once that's done, there's a little puzzle so he can tell us our fortune, and
Excellent. Everything is aligned. And now I will see a vision. What a strange vision.
What is it?
Vera, I had a vision that you will be my wife in a year's time, and my current wife will become very weak. What do you think?
It can't be. I already have a fiancé.
I guess it was a bad vision. It happens from time to time.
why does every old man in this game want to fuck me?
I'm sorry, but you have to solve the puzzle once again.
Oh, I have to do it again? Whatever, solve the puzzle, go to the Jurassic period, and there's a pterodactyl. I want a T-Rex, though. I was promised a T-Rex, despite them not existing until the Cretaceous. Feed some bugs to a lizard, the pterodactyl eats the lizard, then... Well, there he is! A dinosaur!
Roar. Roar, roar.
A gay dinosaur? This game is kind of charming, if not low budget and quirky. It belongs to a long lineage of hidden object titles that began with 2005's Mystery Case Files Huntsville. This one was developed by Big Fish themselves and is a pretty rudimentary game in its genre. Solve mysteries around town by finding hidden objects, then do a little puzzle to find the culprit. Well done, Agent Tigan. Elmer from the body shop is pulling fire alarms around Huntsville as a diversion so he can slide down the fire pole in a beaver costume. Mystery Case Files became a long-running series for Big Fish, and the most recent entry, The Last Resort, was their Game of the Year 2022. Seems kind of biased, but alright. Actually, they haven't been developing them since 2012. It's just a brand they created, then licensed off. Very shrewd. Much like every other hidden object game, Last Resort is... You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I liked this one a lot. Even calling it a hidden object game is a little misleading. It's more like a detective game, similar to the Nancy Drew Mysteries series. You play a sleuth investigating the disappearance of a prince at a secluded winter resort. Immediately, there's some shady characters with less than stellar voice acting.
That damn wind. A shadow. You must be really tired. I've never seen something like that around here. Anyway, thanks. I'll have this done in a second.
The gameplay is very leapfroggy in that you have an objective, then as you try to complete it, you run into something you can't interact with or open or use. When you get done with objective A, you also find a thing that leads you back, then that opens up other clues to other things. All of this is mixed up with a generous helping of hidden object segments and puzzles to keep it fresh. It generally rewards exploring, remembering information, and puzzle solving. And it's a fun time. I would unironically recommend it. Hey, here's another thing. Customizable difficulty. Yeah, there's default difficulties, but you can adjust everything from having clues for interactables to how fast hints recharge. This is a great feature. I wish more games offered this. I went into this video expecting to find a lot of slop. And yeah, some of these are low budget. Some don't feel great, but I was surprised at how okay the Big Fish selection is. Like, there's a game called Spellarium 9. It's a recent Match 3 game, and the first level has a lot going on. Like, I opened this guidebook of the mechanics, and look how much shit there is here. It took me so long, the game gave me this hilarious message. Looks like you have a problem. Do you want to skip this level? Hey you have a problem. What's wrong with you? You're fucked up. Don't even try finishing this level, dude. Freak. I persevered and played a few more stages, and yeah, it was enjoyable. I wouldn't say it blew me away. I wouldn't say it changed my perception of the world or my life or art or is even an example of some incredible craftsmanship in game making. But it's pretty decent. That's most of these games. Pretty decent. One of the struggles in writing the script has been how there's just not a lot to talk about with these things. I I almost wanted to have a bad time. I wanted this to be me mocking reviews left by moms who still laugh thinking about the gay dinosaur from Mushroom Age. I guess I'm just kind of pretentious that way. I look down on Big Fish games because to me, it's the embodiment of what I call cyber kitsch. The meaning of kitsch has evolved and warped ever since its coining in the 1880s by German artists to mean works that were a few things: derivative of the past, exaggerated representations, overly sentimental, and having direct, surface-level themes. Because art that fits this description is often seen as lowbrow in many ways, kitsch has also been associated with works of poor taste or overly commercial appeal. Thomas Kincaid is the modern symbol of kitsch. His paintings fit literally every bullet point. A safe, unchallenging style, landscapes with colors so vivid it's ridiculous. Every piece is screaming at the viewer that they should relish in nostalgia, but not for something they've actually had. Not even a common experience, like a Christmas morning or birthday celebration. It's a fictional scene with nothing going on except the visual. It's fake. It's plastic memories of something that never existed. In the 1984 novel The Unbearable Lightness of Being, the author Milan Kundera gives the least charitable definition of kitsch. He describes a scene of watching children playing in the grass, and the observer shedding 2 tears. The first tear is in response to the beauty of the scene. The second is a step removed. The observer cries again because they find beauty in the fact that they can shed the first tear at all. How nice to be moved, together with all mankind, by children running on the grass. It is the second tier that makes kitsch, kitsch. Further on, Kundera posits that kitsch is the fundamental aesthetic of totalitarianism, a system fueled by the idea of perfection, divorced from reality, concerning itself only with the theoretical beauty of society they must impress upon the masses. And yeah, everything about that could apply to something like Sunset on Lamplight Lane. But at the same time, it's kind of nice. I would like to step into this painting and walk around, watch the sunset, put an ear to the chittering brook. I find it hideous and garish and captivating at the same time. I could say the same of Big Fish. Yeah, I would be hard-pressed to find anything in their monumental catalog that's even remotely boundary-pushing or makes me question my fundamental beliefs about the world, something that redefines my tastes forever or is a display of genius. But when I play them, I have a decent time. It's easy, pacifying content, and in moderation, is probably just fine. I don't know what you, the viewer, will get out of this video, but one thing I hope you don't get is that Big Fish as a company is deserving of your respect. In 2020, they had to pay out $155 million in a class action lawsuit over its Big Fish casino app. Then a few months later, they laid off 50% of their staff. See ya! Maybe you can play a hidden object game and find a new job. So, speaking of what I just said, I was double-checking the website, and, right now during editing, I discovered they changed the genre layout. They've reorganized, not just reorganized it, there's a new category called Hidden Object Adventure, which is separate from Hidden Object. They've removed the Brain Teaser and Family categories, as well as the Casino category. Like, this just happened. This must have happened today. I was editing this yesterday, getting like screenshots of like this layout. Yeah, they literally took out the casino games today. Crazy. And I think they used the same icon for Hidden Object Adventure. Very resourceful. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go clean up the absurd amount of shortcuts they love to litter all over my desktop. I like to have a clean desktop, guys. Do you really need 3 separate shortcuts just for your launcher? I have a Patreon and a podcast and a clips channel for the podcast and a second channel. It's like I dump videos onto. I have too many channels.
Here comes a daredevil. Game over.